Last week, picked off twice in the first half. William Yarborough, a nice pick there. More trouble for Hartselle here in the second. He hits Jim Barron, the Virginia Tech defender. Lacerated middle finger, dislocated ring finger. He's out. So Scott Mutrin, the true freshman from the USA Today High School national champion, St. Ignatius of Ohio. Mutrin comes in and struggles. The interception taken back for the touchdown by Torian Gray, 66 yards. And the Eagles lose at home in their home opener to Virginia Tech. The Hokies, their best start, 3-0 since 1981. Colorado State at BYU. Lavelle Edwards going second Big Ten Conference game of the year. Iowa, Penn State. Last year, Penn State went to Iowa City and won 31-0. It was worse this year. I mean, right out of the gate, it was worse. Kijana Carter and company. It wasn't Kijana early on the ground. It was Mike Archie. What a move to set up the 35-yard score. 14-0 Lions. Iowa punting. Nothing went right for Hayden Fry's team. The punt is blocked, and it's recovered by Phil Yeboah Cody in the end zone to make it 21-0. It was 42-0. Iowa even tries a field goal. They try to fake it on fourth down like you didn't know that was coming. That went nowhere. Long, tough day for Hayden Fry. So Penn State scores 92 in their first two games and comes out and scores 61 against Iowa, and they get Rutgers next week. How'd you like to be the Scarlet Knights? Other Big Ten teams that meet pretty regularly is Virginia and Clemson. Virginia coming into this game a record of 1-31-1 against the Clemson Tigers. The Tigers of Tommy West come to Charlottesville today. This game was replete with turnovers throughout. There wasn't even a sloppy track. Virginia quarterbacks had trouble all day. Mike Groh, who didn't start but comes in for Simeon Willis, picked off in the end zone. 5 straight Virginia turnovers. Look at the frustration on the sidelines by George Welch. 3 of them inside the 10. Clemson didn't do much better. Lewis Solomon, the quarterback, picked off by Rondé Barber. This was late in the fourth quarter. The 10th turnover of the game. The offense has been given away. Barber said, I got to get in myself. He gets it down to the 5. They run 3 plays in the line, right into the middle of the field for Rafael Garcia. The kicker's 19-yard field goal helps the Cavs win, beating Clemson for only the second time in 34 meetings. Virginia beat Clemson. West Virginia plays such a tough run for Northeast, Colorado, Auburn, and today losing by 64. And is now 0-3. The Chippewas, one of the top rushing teams in the MAC. Between Cincinnati and Miami, the winner gets it. This year they tied. I would imagine it stays with Cincinnati, who had the bell from last year's win. We are a couple of minutes away from
Sanders. 24-3, Ohio State had the lead. 27-3 is the final. Bobby Hoeing, 14 of 20, 162-45 in 3 losses. Robert Morris, the only team in the history of college football never to have lost a game. It's their first year ever playing college football. 24-17, they get the win. Boston U over Maine, 31-18, extending the nation's longest regular season winning touchdown run as he picks up the blocking, hesitates at the line, shuffles his way through, and then just watch the power right through the tacklers to the end zone for the touchdown. Cornell a winner 31-16. Chad Leavitt 2 touchdowns on the ground, 39 and 2 yards. Penn over Lafayette 27.
Last year, 54-0. They get Derek Brooks back from his 2-game suspension, and he comes back on the special teams with a punt block that is recovered by Clifton Abraham in the end zone. That made it 21-0. Florida State tacking it on. Warwick Dunn has just run 1 in. Danny Cannell 2 tosses. 42-0. This is a name-your-number game. They're not even at halftime. Notre Dame, Michigan State turned out to be a terrific game. After the struggle last week, Tony Banks came back with a good effort and some help on the end around from Mill Coleman. The former quarterback with some terrific speed and great moves is gone. 30-yard score. Michigan State led Notre Dame 20-7 at the break. Ron Paulus leads the Irish back. Struggled in the first half, strong in the second. Robert Farmer for the touchdown that put Notre Dame ahead to stay 21-20, a school record 16th straight win for the Irish, dating back to the Rockne teams of the late 20s. Alabama, Arkansas, another tight game. Alabama's offense hasn't looked impressive yet this year. Jay Barker makes this play on his own. The scramble, and then Sherman Williams breaking free. He doesn't have to put the ball away because nobody's going to catch him. Sherman Williams, 73-yard touchdown. Another unimpressive offensive effort overall, but Bama is still 3-0, winning by 7 in Fayetteville. Williams, 153, 125, and 142 yards rushing this season. Game of the day, LSU Auburn. What a game. Jamie Howard picked off by Frank Smith. The second interception return for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. What balance by Smith. ties the game at 23. But Curly Hallman's troops come back, kick a field goal. They're up 3, but they're throwing in the shadow of their own goalpost. And Brian Robinson, the pick, goes the other way for what proved to be the game-winning touchdown with 2 minutes left. 3 fourth-quarter interceptions for touchdown for Auburn. Houston did that to Texas in 1987, by the way. All the Tiger TDs by the defense as they win. Colorado State goes 2, denies Lavelle Edwards win 200, and Coach Sonny Lubbock's team is 3-0 out of the gate. In the Big East, Tech, which bounced back nicely from the Thursday night loss to Nebraska 10 days ago. Cedric Jones in this game, 5 quarterback sacks for the Sooners. Earlier today on ES Brown, who used to coach Tulane, got the kids fired up in the locker room more than he normally does. North Carolina State preps for Florida State, primetime next Saturday night. What was the big matchup really tainted by J.J. Stokes not being there? But really, let's face it, Nebraska better team than UCLA. Tommy Frazier to Eric Alford. 23 yards. The Huskers roll. Lawrence Phillips, 178 yards rushing. As a team, Nebraska ran for 484 as they stay perfect. I always want to keep an eye on how Steve McNair does. Air McNair from Division I AA Alcorn State taking on Alabama State. The swing pass to Tony Bullock, a 30-yard score. McNair today, his numbers, 443 yards of total offense, 335 through the air. As Alcorn State leads, still have some time left in that game. As we mentioned,
in Lincoln, a successful home opener as the Cornhuskers beat UCLA, Pacific, and Wyoming next up on the schedule. So Nebraska figures to continue to make their claim for number 1. They are very interested here in this Florida Tennessee game, obviously. We'll get Coach Tom Osborne's reaction to the victory in just a second. Lee and Craig are here. Craig, what jumped out at you watching this ball game from the sidelines?
All week I talked about how if you're playing against Nebraska, you got to be able to have the ability to stop the option. But I saw a lot more today. I saw a very physical team, a Nebraska team that is absolutely mean, and when they get after it, it's attitude you. You got to be smart, too. Backside guard, once he gets around the end of the man on the line of scrimmage, he stops. Rather than running down the field, walls it off, allows the ball carrier to get down the field, and then the running back. Not just the offensive linemen at Nebraska. They set the tone for this ball game, and UCLA knew that not just linemen, but it was also going to be the running backs bringing it to them.
Well, speaking about that Nebraska option, what I found out the secret today, these guys can't stop them because they're only playing 11 guys. You need 12 guys to stop the Nebraska offense. They're that good. Now, watch the reverse pivot by Tommy Frazier. That freezes the linebacker. As he goes on the line, it's an option to the outside. He flips the ball to Lawrence Phillips. They're physically impossible to stop that option play because of the athletic ability of Tommy Frazier.
I know Coach Tom Osborne does not want to see 12 defensive guys face your offense. He joins us now.
Smith, the freshman, already over 100 yards. Isaac Curtis III, the son of the former Bengal, has a touchdown catch for Kentucky. Down in Columbia, South Carolina on a Stanley Pritchard run has a 1-point lead approaching halftime with Louisiana Tech. Southern Miss in Hattiesburg leading Memphis by 4 as they start the third quarter. You see Ryan Pearson on the other end of the 17-yard touchdown. Minnesota looking to get to 2-1. San Diego State looking to go 3-0 for the first time in 13 years. Right now, Minnesota leads by 3. Up at the Dome, Bruce Presley scores for Rutgers. Kevin Mason, the quarterback, a 1-yard run for the 'Cuse, up 3 in the Big East. Temple, their home opener at the Vet, in front of many empty seats, leading East Carolina. Junior Smith already with a big day on the ground for the Pirates. And the Flames of Liberty, trailing Toledo at the Glass Bowl right now by 1, 13-12. This is end 1 of our primetime CFA doubleheader last week against Michigan State. Taking on TCU, going to Fort Worth tonight. Max Nocky, the quarterback for the Frogs, to Andre Davis. Good spin move. Another one. He'll do the rest. 54 yards for the score. A surprise. Southwest over the Big 8 in Fort Worth. Good win for Kansas on the road by 10. Both teams are 2-1. Grambling had an opportunity, but Eddie Robinson called off the Dogs, to move towards Portland State's 1AA record for most points in a game. They scored 87 at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Like a Burt Jones-type effort from the Grambling offense. The Louisville Cardinals tonight taking on Arizona State. Marty Lowe, late second quarter to Sean Jackson, 11 yards on the slant in, and a 2-point conversion on the back end of that. Bruce Snyder's got a little headache going right now. The Cards lead by 6 as they get closer to halftime. Louisville looking to improve their record on the year now to 1-2 and get win 1 of the year. Fresno State at Bulldog Stadium taking on Oregon State. And Coach Pettibone's wishbone. Right now, Fresno handling it on defense, leading by 7. At the Sun Bowl, UTEP was up 19-3. New Mexico State had scored the last 14 as they battle for the silver spade and the brass spittoon between UTEP and New Mexico State. Baylor tonight beat Oklahoma State by 4. Baylor off to a good 3-0 start. People predicted good things for the Bears. They play at Southern Cal next week. Ole Miss was up big. Vandy started inching back and getting closer, but couldn't come all the way back as they did a couple of weeks ago against Wake. Ole Miss moves to 2-1 in the SEC, winning by 6. Missouri snaps a 17-game road losing streak by defeating Houston. Jeff Handy now has the school record, 5,354 passing yards. Notre Dame a chance for a school. He caused a fumble and blocked a punt in this game. This one recovered by Clifton Abraham in the end zone, made it 21-0. At least this year, Wake Forest scored some points on the Seminoles, who win by 42. Danny Cannell's numbers, impressive enough. Florida, earlier tonight on ESPN, going to Neyland Stadium on the grass to take on Tennessee. Boy, Florida defense was impressive, and the offense gave him plenty to work with. Great move by Jack Jackson as he sneaks in to the end zone. And Styles there, too. Dean had 304 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and his 1 interception was off a deflection. I mentioned Florida's defense just shut down the Vols. First shutout of the Vols at home since 1980. As for the game in Lincoln, no J.J. Stokes. Well, now Hawaii comes to the mainland to take on the Bears today. This one was a surprise in Berkeley. Cal in the blue up 7-0. Ryan Longwell is punt blocked by Matthew Harding, and Cary Williams takes it in 7-7 at the half. Third quarter, Longwell punting again. Oh, special teams. Robert Blackney in with the block, and this time Harding, who blocked the last punt, picks this one up and takes it in for a touchdown. What a day. And Hawaii takes Cal down to 0-2. Both wins against the Pac-10. Mike McCoy, big passing numbers in the Utah win. Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, after losing to Penn State, has won their last 2. Alex Smith of Indiana has rushed for 568 yards in 3 games. You'll see him against Wisconsin next week on ESPN. Way to go, Northwestern. They snapped the winless streak at 10. And Purdue wins its 2nd straight game over a MAC opponent. Northeast Louisiana, you may have seen them, Colorado fans. The Buffs beat them, Auburn beat them. Today, Georgia, 142-31 in the last 3 games. Iowa State, they lost to Northern Iowa. They lost to Iowa today to Western Michigan by 4. At home, they're not happy in Ames. 11 turnovers in that Virginia-Clemson game that Coach talked about, but the field goal late by Virginia gets the win. And at the Dome in Syracuse, 2 one-point games in the home games for Syracuse. They lost one to Oklahoma to start the year on ESPN. They win tonight by 1 for their first Big East win of the year. Cordell Stewart looking good in the Big 8 against the Big 10. His pass to Michael Westbrook, part of Colorado.
San Diego State, they picked a 32-yard field goal with time running out to beat Cal. They'll try this one from 28 yards. And it's good. With 6:52 left in the half. A good ball game here at the Metrodome with the Gophers leading 13-10. Said they were going to get one, Dick. They came so close last week against Pacific.
They came close to that last, the field goal that they kicked. Remember, I told you, they were close to blocking that one. And number 52, he was really mad about it, and I was hoping that he would get that mad, he would come back.
Schulberg will try the extra point. Special teams gets a touchdown. Taylor scoring on the block kick. See if it's Justin Consemius who comes in here. And it appeared to be number 20 Consemius who got a hand on it. Beautiful job. The Gophers lead by 13 late in the first half.
Watch him when he cuts up the field. If you could just get a close-up and look at those eyes, he sees the goal line. Now he drives, drops his head, and pushes and squints into the end zone.
Nathan Vale's extra point will return after this from Southwest Airlines.
It'll be interesting to see just what happens to that ball.
He
didn't muff it.
never came close to it. And by the time he corralled it in the back of the end zone, much too late. Maybe the sun, the old sun in the eye excuse, may actually be valid here.
I'm not sure. I think that we're going to have a discussion over this.
Jay Harvey, 43, with the tackles right back in the game.
Case throws the ball very well, excellently executed. This is a good run right here, but he just got open territory. Throw in those afterburners. Don't let them stop you. And
7th-ranked Buffaloes, and the Buffs were ready. Darrell Bevel, bad first half. One of his 4 interceptions, Donnell Liamidi taking it 43 yards to set up a Colorado touchdown. It would be 17-3 in the second quarter. Colorado reading the blitz perfectly. Cordell Stewart hitting his favorite target, Michael Westbrook, a 32-yarder to make it 27-10. Rashaan Salam, 4 touchdowns in the game. This the 4th one. Colorado up 41-17 in just the 3rd quarter, but it kept on coming. Cordell Stewart, a big game, over 300 yards passing. Ray Caruth helped put it away, 55-17, and guess what they're thinking? Orange in Boulder. As we go back to the new USA Today CNN coaches poll, we find Colorado coming in had won 16 of their previous 17 games with Colorado State, but yesterday the Rams went to Provo and pulled off the surprise of the week. Forget BYU's number 17 ranking, Colorado State did. John Walsh, a forgettable day for BYU. Greg Myers with one of his 2 interceptions, one of 4 thrown by Walsh. That turned into a touchdown, a 7-3 Ram lead. Here's Leonard Karn taking the swing pass, and hey, it looked like a tackle, but it wasn't. He pounded his way down for a 40-yard gain, set up another touchdown, and Colorado State shocked BYU 28-21 in our surprise of the week. And as we round out the poll, we'll see BYU has fallen.
It was another mega phenomenal Saturday. Pigskins flying all over. The place was up for grabs. Lots of the battles could have gone either way. What's up at the top? Nebraska tried not to get upended, but the Gators continued to put the back pedal to the metal. Others still the pits with major questions. Here's a few majors. How about fine art? Voice training pre-101. And nothing like some of that human physiology. And what about reverse psychology graduate level? Hogs head coach Danny Ford chews the fat. Don't you ever boot one of those things through again. Hear me? Hear me, son? Son, you ain't too far from a fool. Next chance? Oh, no, the kid's really pushing it now. Every Razorback wants a piece of him. Slap here, forearm shiver there, throw in a little face mask, and then, of course, a runaway Ford. You a dead man, son. I'm getting you and your daddy and your daddy's daddy. Soo-ee. Grease pig contest, a rarity in Boston. Eagles and Hokies trying to wrestle that little varmint. But old 76 has the right idea. What's a pig scoop without a little do-si-doing? Yee-haw! Hey, hats off to the performers of the day. Come on, gather around for oohs and ahs and ouches. Colorado State's Paul Turner wants this ball like no one's ever wanted a ball anywhere. BYU lose. On the other hand, the DB's dealing it out. Clemson's Brian Dawkins with a vivid illustration of the word soar and then soar. Get that? This is S-O-R-E. This is S-O-A-R. Thanks, Brian. Hope that wasn't too much of a stretch. Time for some stars from the men in stripes. Zebra's fair game in this game. Seems like he's a little out of position on this play, isn't he? And then there's the quick sideline refresher course. Sonny, how old did you say I was when I died? We'll check with the men upstairs on that one. Fashion statements were weak all day. Curly, as in Curly Hallman. I told you never, ever wear that putrid thing around me again. No ifs, ands, or buts. And what about the educated electrical look? Or heavy metal? Too much tuba will get you every time. And as always, mascots muddied up every broadcast. This eagle is lame. The pig's stuck. And please put the tiger back in his tank and send this Mac back to whatever service station he belongs to. Ooh, baby, time to get up and strut.
So suffered a bruised thigh and ankle on that play. He's back this week. Things didn't start out well for him first quarter. DeShazo back to pass. Aaron Beasley upstairs for the pickoff. DeShazo, 3 INTs, all by Beasley. But the Hokies bounced back. Brian Edmonds at the Mountaineer 33. He will not go down. Heads up, ref. And he Hokies and pokies his way into the end zone. That's how it's written on the shot sheet. Tech took a 7-3 lead. Still first quarter. Eric Blinken. Back to pass. Tip. Picked off by Brandon Simones. Each team had 3 turnovers in the first half. 2 plays later, DeShazo, the flanker screen, Antonio Freeman find the end zone man, and he does. A 29-yard TD. Hokies up 14-3. They scored twice. Oh, look who's there, Boomer. Okay, fourth quarter, Hokies up 20-6. DeShazo strikes again. Wide open, Brian Still. 35-yard score. The Hokies win big. Tailback Dwayne Thomas rushed 18 times for 94 yards before leaving with a sprained left ankle. Tech coach Frank Beamer said, "It's obvious our offense hasn't found its rhythm yet, but I know it will." The Hokies moved to a 4-0 start for the first time in 13 seasons. Meanwhile, what a difference this season makes for the Mountaineers. Last year, they averaged 35 points and 228 yards rushing per game. Versus Tech on Thursday, just 91 yards on 46 carries. That's less than 2 yards per carry. Brett.
On to hockey, the NHL.
Attacked the Largo with a nice smash, and it puts it right in the hands of Justin Smith. Smith knows what to do with it. Those back leaning right to the marker. About right there, he gets the score, and that's good looking.
The quarterback is Glenn Foley's younger brother. And in this game, a touchdown pass by Kevin Foley to Jermaine Lewis, 7-0 Maryland. Mark Duffner diagramming more offense. He would get it. Still in the first from the Wake 38. Foley works it to perfection. In stride, Jamie Lewis, second score of the day, although Lewis had to leave with an injury in the second quarter. They're in the third now. Maryland leads by 10. Wake only 22 yards of total offense in the first half. Back to the 2 very talented guys to choose from when they get to the third strip. Pulling back, this is first collegiate touchdown. Kenyatta Watson, the nice catch as he adjusts to the pass. BC takes the lead. Pittsburgh trying to come back, field goal attempt. Oh, it turns into a touchdown. John Ryan, the holder, was a quarterback to Maurice Washington. That narrows it to 21-9, and that's where that game stands. Just getting started the third quarter at Pittsburgh in the Big East as BC and Pitt both looking for their first conference wins. Also going on today.
Could not afford a second loss, nor could Mississippi State. It's the home opener in Starkville. Mississippi State had an off week. Under Sherrill, they are 5-1 after off weeks. Again, quarterback problem for Tennessee. They don't have Todd Helton. He's injured. At Mississippi State on 4th and 2, this is the winning touchdown. Derek Tate to the tight end. Kendall Watkins. Earlier on that drive, they had converted on a 4th and 13. As Corso predicted, Mississippi State wins the home opener 24-21 as Tennessee drops to 1-3, 1-2 in the SEC. Auburn, after the scare last week, hammering 1AA East Tennessee State down in Auburn. 31-0 is the score early in the second half. Penn State against Rutgers. Early on, the powerful Nittany Lion offense, 19 points in the first quarter. They had outscored opponents 70-0 in the first quarter coming into this ball game. That's Ingram with the catch. Then Ki-Jana Carter here, Craig.
We've seen a lot of running backs this season. Ki-Jana Carter is at the top of the list of great runners in this country. 1 of 3 first-half touchdown runs. This 13 yards.
Rutgers made it interesting in the second quarter. They finally scored on Penn State late in the first quarter. Then Reggie Funderburg catches, spins off a tackler, 46-yard touchdown. The Nittany Lions lead cut to 27-20, but they would pull away in the second half. Collins from his own 18 to Freddie Scott. Freddie Scott Jr., just like his dad used to do in the NFL. 82-yard touchdown. That one made it 41-20. The Nittany Lions win it 55-27. How ugly will it be when they play Temple next? Notre Dame and Purdue check. We're going to Columbus, and then they take their lumps. Actually, this is not as bad as it could be. 36-0 early third quarter. This is about as bad as it could be. 49-0 at halftime. Chuck Shelton's Pacific team just completely overmatched. This is another payday game. Back to Mississippi State game, but on 2 crutches. He would go to 1 crutch. He would lose the crutch later in the game. Meanwhile, Boston College, the problems at quarterback continue for them. Scott Mutron was the 3rd-string quarterback coming into the season. Now he gets the start. But of course, it helps him just hand the ball off and get a touchdown run. Justice Smith down the left side. Justice prevails. 40-yard touchdown, 7-0 Eagles. Dan Henning's club also does it through the air as Scott Mutron, the freshman, drops back. Watson makes a nice catch. The throw is behind him, but he grabs it. 21-9. Boston College goes on for the victory. The first collegiate win for Dan Henning, and he avoids the 0-3 start. Nobody was scored in the second half of that ball game. Georgia holds on between the hedges to beat Ole Miss 17-14, up the record to 3-1. Eric Zier, however, did throw 3 interceptions. Alabama next up for Georgia on ESPN next week. Michigan State not having trouble with this MAC team. 45-10 they lead early in the fourth quarter over Miami of Ohio. Kansas against UAB, which goes to 1A next year. 14:05 left in the third quarter. No trouble for the Jayhawks so far. Plenty of trouble for Iowa State, however. Wow. They've still not thrown a touchdown pass this season. They're looking to avoid the 0-4 start, but Rice on the road has a 14-3 lead. In the ACC, gaining respect is what Maryland was trying to do. I'm not sure you gain respect just by beating Wake Forest, but scoreless game first quarter. Kevin Foley, the younger brother of New York Jet quarterback Glenn, throws an 18-yard touchdown to Jermaine Lewis. Then Coach Duffner drawing things up on the board. He likes what he sees. Foley, I don't know if he ran the play to perfection, Coach, but you like it. Jermaine Lewis, a talented receiver, hauls it in. That made it 14-0. 31-7 is the final. Maryland levels the record at 2-2. Wake Forest 0-2 in the ACC. Temple and Army, enjoy it today, Owls fans, because Penn State comes calling soon. At the start of the fourth quarter, it's a 16-7 lead over Army. Central Michigan, a powerhouse in the MAC, blanking Kent 45-0. You go through 3-1. Kent snapped the losing streak last week. They start a new one this week. Ball State and Ohio U 21-7 for the Cardinals. 11:52 early going in the third quarter. The Ponies and Texas Tech. Early in the second quarter, Tech has a 7-zip lead over the Ponies. Craig will continue to chart that one for you. In the WAC, Colorado State is ranked for the first time since '77, but Ted Tollner's team on the road hanging tough. Colorado State backed up on their own 2-yard line, 3-0 deficit until E.J. Watson breaks through, rumbles for 50 yards. The next play, Anthony Hill, play action. After the nice run, you get the receiver wide open on the play action. He dropped the ball. Sonny Lubick staying upbeat. The next possession, Hill says, I'm not going to throw it if they're not going to catch it. I'll just keep the ball. Get in the end zone easily. The extra point was blocked. Colorado State in a surprisingly low-scoring game, up 6-3 on San Diego State, but they do have a big-time defense finally in Fort Collins.
That score, Houston set up back-to-back ties for the first time since 1965. BYU and New Mexico, one of our games here on ABC, and BYU has the lead there. John Walsh with 2 touchdown passes, including one of 21 yards to Chad Lewis. Alcorn State and Sam Houston State, another game here on ABC. Steve McNair doing it on offense, but he cannot stop Sam Houston on defense. McNair here, 20 yards to Kobe Jenkins. Gets his second touchdown pass of the game. Jenkins second for receiving. And Steve McNair, here's what he's done on the season. 17 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. Terry Dean of Florida would be number 2 on the list if you can include everyone in Division I. And Terry Dean has a lot of respect for Steve McNair.
You know, Steve McNair's having a great year, and I'm sure he'd even have, you know, good numbers if he was playing 1A ball. And you know, he's a great guy, but there's still a lot to go in this season, and you know, I plan on getting stronger and stronger.
Terry Dean is, without doubt, a Heisman candidate. Let's look at some other scores now. San Diego State facing Colorado State as they look to remain unbeaten. They're 3-0 coming in, 19-17 the lead there. Cal and Arizona State, 21-11 is the score in the Pac-10. Syracuse, you'll see them next week on ABC. Some of you against East Carolina, they have taken the lead 14-10. Duke tries to remain unbeaten for Fred Goldsmith to go to 4-0, and they lead Georgia Tech at halftime 10-0. And Iowa being blown up by Oregon right now. 27-12 is the score in the second quarter. Whittle has 3 touchdown runs in the game. Right now, a listen to the Michigan band as we look at a few more scores from around the nation, including from the Ivy League. Penn now has won 14 games in a row as they knock off Dartmouth today.
Game. Good snap, good placement. A lot of leg, and it's wide to the right. He had the distance. And CSU is euphoric, but there's still 4 seconds left. And here comes the flag. You knew that was going to come in for the celebration. The Rams, all they have to do is snap it once and put a knee down, and they will go to 4-0.
He will go 40 yards for the touchdown. 1 of 2 on the day for him. 121 yards rushing for him. 7-0 Tigers. Then in the second quarter, Patrick Nix looking deep to Frank Sanders. Touchdown, 28 yards, 14-0 Auburn. Moments later, Nix again finds Thomas Bailey down the sideline. 30 yards, Tigers in a rout. They win it by a score of 38-0. Nix a couple of touchdown passes. Sanders 8 catches, 97 yards, and both of those scored. Number 11, Alabama. Having some problems in the fourth quarter. They lead Tulane by a slim 20-10. It is number 12, Texas A&M, taking on Southern Miss, and right now it is 24-3 in the second quarter of that one. Ohio State all over Houston, 52-0. The final score, Hoying had 136 yards passing, a pair of touchdowns in the first quarter of that one. Wake Forest falls to Maryland, 31-7 in the ACC. Georgia Tech taking on Duke, and Tech falling to Duke, 17-6, that one now in the fourth quarter. Georgia just gets by Ole Miss, 17-14 was the final there. Eric Zier, 257 yards passing and a couple of touchdowns. The Cal Bears, they lost 2 games in the WAC, and they are trailing to Arizona State in the fourth quarter by a score of 21-18. Iowa taking on Oregon, and Oregon leading this one in the third quarter by a score of 40-18. Michigan State, close one against Notre Dame. They are beat Miami of Ohio by a score of 45-10. They scored 28 points in the second quarter of that one. Boston College still looking for that first win, taking on the He does the rest for a nice gain of 40 yards. That'll certainly help McNair's statistics. A couple of plays later, McNair goes to Colby Jenkins again for the touchdown, and the game was tied at 7. But Sam Houston would come back to make it 14-7. So McNair tries to answer, completes a pass, but check out the hit. And then another hit, and Sam Houston State has it. A couple of plays later, the Bearcats strike. Aaron Beatty to Kevin Pesic for the touchdown. It was 21-7 Sam Houston. They can also run in the SWAC. Winston Leonard for the touchdown. It was 28-10 at the half. Time for more McNair. He scrambles. He'll find Colby Jenkins again. Another 6 points. Solid first half for McNair. However, his team trailing big at the break. And now in the third quarter, it is 42-23. So that Sports Illustrated coverage jinx certainly coming to pass. BYU taking on New Mexico State New Mexico in the WAC in the fourth quarter. They're leading that one. Typical score from that conference, 35-27. San Diego State taking on Colorado State. First quarter, Aztecs by 3 over the Rams. Anthony Hill on the play option will take it around the outside. Wide open for the touchdown. Rams on the board, 6-3. Third quarter, Colorado State leading 12-10. Hill looking deep. He'll find Eric Olson in the end zone, 34 yards for the touchdown. Rams up 19-10, but San Diego State gets back in it. Fourth quarter, Wayne Pittman, great effort here, breaks a couple of tackles, runs it in for the touchdown. Aztecs trail by 2. Then with 9 seconds left, a chance to win it on the field goal. Peter Holt from 52 yards out. The kick is wide right. Colorado State takes it. Final score of 19-17. That field goal attempt coming with just 4 seconds left on the clock. And Colorado 4-0 this season. 7 straight wins overall going back to last season. When we come back, we'll update the...
Excellent road team. They were perfect in the Orange Bowl historically. Of course, that game was against Oklahoma. But they had one at Nebraska, the last team to do so as a road team. Could they get the job done here? Well, they're not used to the heat coming in the cool zone. Their D did it in the red zone. Derek Harris nailed for the loss. Miami had to settle for 3. The Canes were playing defense. Damon Hewart hit as he throws. Ray Lewis picks it off at the 2-yard line. That would set Miami up. Watch you teal green here, Lee.
Miami drops back, and this Teal Green just runs right past the guy. He runs 4.25 speed in the 40. He's the fastest player at Miami. He just was a streak route. Costa looked great.
He did in the first half. It was 14-3. Jim Lambright exhorting his team. Opening drive of the third quarter. Heward to Richard Thomas on the screen. Breaks the tackle. Cuts back. Gets a nice block. This guy's a fullback. 75 yards for the touchdown. Huskies back in the ball game, down by only a field goal. Miami on the very next play following the kickoff, trying to extend their lead. Costa, the next series, I should say, it was a 3rd and 11, picked off. Russell Harrison in the end zone, 18-14, Washington. Then, Washington with the momentum and the good special teams play on the ensuing kickoff. Jamie German has great speed, but gets leveled right there, hit hard, stayed down for a while. Washington recovered the fumble on 3rd and goal at the 8. Heward keeps it, fumbles at the 3. Sapp recovers in the end zone. Touchdown for Washington. Yeah, big guy. Yeah, it's a touchdown. 3:30 to play in the ball game. 31-20, and Washington closing in on the end of the 58-game win streak. Colorado and Michigan, the big one in the Big House this afternoon. Tyrone Wheatley suited up, did not start, and was not the best back for Michigan on the day. Colorado moved well in the first half. Cordell Stewart on the option, gain of 15. Next play, fake, down to the 1. Then Rashaan Salam, 8th rushing touchdown on the year. Colorado made it look easy in the first drive. It was 7-0. Second possession for Michigan. Wheatley comes in, didn't have a lot of yards, but boy, did he give Michigan a lift. The crowd got into it when he got back in the ball game. 12-yard gain. That's what it means to come back to him, Craig. Excited. Then Stewart airs it out to Michael Westbrook. The freeze option, they had him wide open on the single coverage. Craig, check it out.
Rick Neuheisel, the quarterback coach, has taught Stewart to be patient, sell the run. That opens up the pass. There, a credit to Neuheisel.
CU up 14-9. Coach Mo, good adjustments in the second half. Once again, his team comes out strong in the final 30 minutes. That's Wheatley for the touchdown. They took the lead by 6. Colorado came unraveled after. What's the difference in this ball game? Mistakes, Craig?
Last year, only 5 holding calls. 4 today. The turnovers demoralized Colorado's offense. They mentally never could overcome them.
And we'll keep you posted. Again, less than 2.5 minutes to play. It's a 6-point lead. Arizona and Stanford. Bill Walsh has criticized the Arizona program, called them mercenaries. Today, they were tough mercenaries. Richard Dice, touchdown to the corner of the end zone, 14-0 Arizona. Dick Domey's defense was swarming as usual.
Hey, Teddy Bruschi led a defense today with 6 sacks on Stenstrom. There's no way you can overcome that if you're an offense just needing the pass.
Good on the special teams as well. Brandon Sanders from the top of your screen storms in off the corner and blocks the field goal. A tough day for Stenstrom. Arizona getting up early, pressuring him. A convincing victory, 34-10. The Wildcats say we belong in that upper echelon of teams in the national championship hunt. Tennessee and Mississippi State. Todd Helton, a sprained right knee in the first quarter, out 3 to 4 weeks. Enter Peyton Manning in relief, and he flips it out right here to Kendrick Jones. Mark it down, the first of what should be many touchdown passes in the career for the freshman. Manning, 14 of 23, 256 yards. Vols up 7-0. Sherrill wasn't ready for this play. James, little man Stewart, throws it out there. Halfback option to David Horn. 21-7, Vols in control. But in the fourth quarter, Tennessee tried to run out the clock. Aaron Hayden just dropped the ball. Bulldogs have it, Lee.
Michael Davis, 222-pound running back, is the key to this attack. By him running the ball, allowed them to have some play-action passes.
Game-winning drive, 4th and goal. Tate, Kendall Watkins, the 2-yard touchdown reception. Jackie Sherrill going crazy. Apparently, he used the off week well, and the Volunteers slide to 1-3, a second loss in the SEC. Michael Davis, 26 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. That's the guy Lee loves so much. Alabama against Tulane. The Green Wave had scored only 1 touchdown all season. The Tide Box boys from Scottsboro, Alabama were ready for him. First quarter, Tulane to the Bama 21. Tracy Watts finds the tight end. Keno Turner at the 1-yard line. Look at the concentration. They would score on the next play. They led 10-3. But in the second quarter, the Alabama defense, how many times are they going to create a big play and a touchdown off of it? Kelvin Moore the strip. Damian Johnson picks it up, ties the game at 10. Time running down to the first half. Gene Stallings, he's upset. That's not good clock management. He wanted him to spike the ball. Now they're going to run the ball here. Sherwin-Williams squirting around. They're stopped, and the clock just runs out. They don't get anything out of it. It's tied 10-10. Third quarter from the 16-yard line. Brian Steger goes around in, doesn't look back. Alabama, again, not a whole lot of offense, just the one offensive touchdown, but it's enough. They stay undefeated, and they have Georgia next. Let's go back to...
Incredible! There is no time remaining. There are no flags on the field. Only despair for the maize and blue. Joy and exultation for the Buffaloes of Colorado.
This is why they try it, because it works. You're always looking for the rebound. 81 Westbrook is right there. That's the way you hope it works. He threw that ball about 65 yards. There was no pressure on him. What an outstanding throw. And a great result for Colorado.
An absolutely shocking finish. They call it in some circles the Hail Mary. It was certainly prayerful. And Michael Westbrook was in the right place at the right time. Colorado has said, we don't care about kicking the ball. We got all the points we need. We win 27-26. Number 7 beats number 4. Next for Colorado, Texas and Austin. We'll show it to some of you next week.
Going to get one on this day. Third quarter, 25-7. Ray Zellers runs off tackle, rumbles over the Boilermakers. We leave Beckton out, falls on Zellers and Randy Kinder to pick up the slack. And they did easily, although they do allow 21 points to Purdue. Boilers had been shut out by Notre Dame the 2 previous games. Zellers, a career-high 156 yards in the ball game. Penn State and Rutgers, 19 Indiana. Yeah, it was the beginning of their Rose Bowl run. Badgers concentrating on stopping Alex Smith, the freshman who came in leading the nation in rushing. He was stuffed, 18 yards in the first half. 14-0 Badgers when Darrell Bevel, he's recovered from his bad game. Up top to Tony Simmons with a juggling catch. And then guys on the ground just took over. That's Terrell Fletcher. They don't catch him. Gets to the end zone, a 1-2 punch for Wisconsin. A look at the score, 62-13. Alex Smith held to 65 yards. Brent Moss over 100 yards rushing for the 14th consecutive. Moss and Fletcher, always tough.
They take the pressure off Darrell Bevel. The attitude at Wisconsin is the ground game. If they don't succeed there, they do not win.
Ohio State just clobbered a completely overmatched Houston team that plays a lot of young guys. Galloway came back. They didn't need him, though. Houston still has not scored in the first 3 quarters of any ball game. East Tennessee State, a pretty good 1AA team, but no match for Auburn. 38-0. Auburn gets the victory. Nebraska and Pacific. Speaking of easy, Huskers taking the field here. They could have named the score in this one. Tommy Frazier, who didn't do much of anything except just pitch out to Lawrence Phillips, and he does the rest. 14-0 Nebraska. Frazier played very sparingly, only threw 2 passes, ran the ball once, but Brooke Behringer comes in and he gets some valuable reps in a game. 46-yard touchdown pass to Eric Alford. As I said, they could have named the score. Pacific, though, can take pride. They did score 21 points on the Huskers, although you have to figure Nebraska was using a lot of walk-ons in that ballgame. You guys had a chance to watch. It stops at 58 straight. Woo, a convincing victory for the Huskies by 18 points in the Orange Bowl. The brothers Cal, Cal struggling early.
Lost to a couple of WAC teams, fell behind, but they win it 25-21 as the final over Arizona State. Dave Barr, 27 of 34, 254 yards and a touchdown. That's Bruce Snyder for Arizona State. I have no idea what we're going to see, but let's watch together. That's Cal. They're running for a touchdown. Does he get in? He does get in. So Cal comes from behind, and they beat Arizona State. Average had a couple of touchdowns. It is 25-21. Get the flag out. A sparse crowd, though, in Berkeley. Something to be alarmed about. Nevertheless, a 25-21 victory. San Diego State and Colorado State. Game 42-33 BYU. Jamal Willis takes the handoff, runs 39 yards, high steps into the end zone, his second touchdown of the day, and BYU gets win number 200 for Lavelle Edwards, but it was a struggle. New Mexico comes back. It is 49-47, 200th win as Edwards becomes the 5th man to join that club. Boston College and Pittsburgh big, 31-7. Georgia and Ole Miss, the Bulldogs taking the field. Eric Zier, not a great day, but he gets it done here to Bryce Hunter on a 4-yard pass. He would throw a career-high 3 interceptions, I should say, on the day. Antonius Bonner picks him off on the overthrow into double coverage, but he would bounce back. The 5-yarder to Larry Bowie, he gets it in the end zone, and Georgia goes to 3-1. They have Alabama next week on ESPN. Michigan State gets a win over the MAC school, Miami of Ohio. Central Michigan is shut out as Kent cannot make it 2 wins in a row. Ball State over Ohio U. Army loses to Temple. It'll get tough for Owls fans. You have Penn State coming up. Texas Tech, sorry, Craig, sends the Ponies down 35-7. Iowa State, it is going to be a long, long season in Ames as Rice goes in there and knocks Iowa State down to 0-4. More coming up. Ivy League versus the Patriot League. It was a showdown. Marshall, a 7-0 lead in the first quarter. McNeese State, 10-point winner over Northern Iowa on the road. Why Canisius Siena highlights? Because I want to show you something amazing. Canisius Aaron Fitz fields this punt at his own 40. After some hard running, he'll go 60 yards for a touchdown. He did it 2 other times as well. 3 punt returns for a touchdown. That is, yes, a new 1AA record. They were of 60, of 30, and 65 yards. Canisius wins the game despite getting only 145 yards total offense. They go to 0-2 in the loss. Robert Doherty of Boston University, 21 of 30.